So now we are going to start and find out the degrees of freedom or mobility of different mechanisms in this class. Let's start with a diagram of crank and slider mechanism, which is most famous mechanism, right? It is the most famous mechanism which you all know. So I'm going to take the liberty of explaining that to you. So this is a slider and we have, yes, and we have, okay, take this is a platform on which it is going to slide. Here there is a revolute joint, you can check. Here there is a revolute joint, here there is a revolute joint, and here there is a sliding joint, and this is a surface. Okay, now you can check here how many links are there. Number the links first. Number 1, relative motion is possible, then you can number it. Number 3, number 4, and number 1. So total number of links, it means n is equal to 1. Sorry, n is equal to 4. Total number of revolute joints. So J is what? Revolute joints plus prismatic joints. So that is lower pace. So revolute joints 1, 2, 3 and prismatic joints is 1. So total J is 4. Now take the formula. Mobility is equal to 3 into n minus 1 minus 2J minus 1J minus 2JR. So in this, we don't require few things. We don't require this JH and we don't require this JHR. These both are not required because there are no higher pairs. So just take it off and now substitute. So 3 into 4 minus 1 minus 2 into 4. And this will be equal to 1. It means the degrees of freedom or mobility is equal to 1. The meaning is you just need one parameter to completely specify the position of any link at any point of time in this mechanism. It means if I know just this theta, I will definitely be able to say where the link 4 is at that instant. I can tell where each and every point on link 3 or link 2 is. Just if I know one theta value, that's enough. So that's why it is 1 degree of freedom. Okay, and you can even say in this manner that just one input is required to get output. One input means just the gas needs to be combustion, the combustion of gas needs to be taken place here. Just that one input. It means you push it, automatically the crank will rotate. One input, you are getting desired output. That is 1 degree of freedom. If you get 1 degree of freedom, the meaning is what? One input, you will get the desired output. That's it. One input you have, you will get the desired output. Now we'll go to the next problem and find out the degrees of freedom here. Let's take this problem, this, and then you have this one. And now you have sliders, right? So this is a slider and this is another slider. And connecting these two sliders, you have a connecting arm. Yes, and these are revolute pairs and that those two are sliding pairs. Okay. Now calculate the degrees of freedom for this. I can see this is a revolute pair, this is a revolute pair, and this is a fixed surface. So I have number of links equal to 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? So 4. Number of links equal to 4. And J, you have revolute pairs 2 and sliding pairs 2. So J is 4. So mobility is equal to 3 into n minus 1. There are no higher pairs. I won't write it. I will write only till here. So 3 into 4 minus 1 minus 2 into 4. So what is it? 9 minus 8, 1. So here also only one input is required to know the each and every point on the link. Now we'll go to a different problem. This is one of the links. This is another link here. This is another link here. And then this is another link here. Okay, and this is another link. So total you have 5 links. 5 links are present. Listen carefully. 1 revolute, 2 revolute, 3 revolute, 4 revolute, 5 revolute. It means J is equal to 5. And number of links, N is equal to also 5. This is fixed. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now substitute in the formula. Mobility m is equal to 3 into n minus 1 minus 2 into j. Now you will get answer 12 minus 10 is equal to 2. It means you have to control two links to exactly predict the motion of rest of the links. You have to control two links. Only then you can constrain the motion, or else it is unconstrained. If you only move one link out of all this, if you only give power to one link, like if you fix a motor at this side, only one link, then you can't predict where the rest of the links will have motion like. You can't predict that. Okay, you have to control both the links. Maybe you connect a motor here, you put a belt drive here, and you put some pulley here, and then you connect both these links together. Or else you put another motor, independent motor here. Only then you can control and constrain where this point has to reach, or where this link 3 has to move, where this link 4 has to move. So all these things can be told. It means it needs how many parameters? 2 parameters. So this is the level of understanding you should have whenever we study degrees of freedom. Okay. And we have a few more examples to take. You can take a wide variety of examples. Like you can even take a crank and slotted lever mechanism, right? So I think you are familiar with that mechanism. If not, you will get familiar. Okay, don't worry about it. You will get familiar very soon. So this is slotted lever, and here you have another link, like, yes. So this is another link over here, and then you have a slider. You need to draw a slider here. Yes. So now you can count. This is a revolute joint. This is a revolute joint. This is a fixture. Okay, it is fixed. This is a frame. This is a revolute joint. So count number of links: link 1, link 2, link 3, link 4. Right? 4 links. So how many? 3 revolute and 1 sliding. Right? 3 revolute, 1 sliding. So J is equal to 4. Number of links n equal to 4. I think already we have done this type of problem. 3 into n minus 1 minus 2 into j. Completed. I have 1 degree of freedom. Right? This is called crank and slotted lever mechanism, where in this link 3 there is a slot. In that slot, in that groove, the piston or link 4 is sliding. Okay, so that is your crank and slot lever mechanism, and it has degrees of freedom 1. I think you have learned sufficiently about degrees of freedom and how to find out degrees of freedom of different mechanisms.